for joining me for another Pilates session. Now this one today, we're going to be standing and you need a wall. So we're going to be using the wall to lean against to give our spines a little bit of feedback. So this one here isn't great because it's got a little bit of metal sticking out. So I'm going to use a door. Doors are fine, just make sure that you're obviously not going to fall through it. Make sure it's closed, make sure it's locked. So let's find that wall behind us, and I want you to stand with your feet maybe about 1.5 feet, your 1.5 feet measurement away from the wall so you can lean back into it. And you're going to take your feet about a hip distance apart. So as you lean back into the wall, you've got your knees nice and soft and you can feel your pelvis pressing into the wall. Now, we want to have the pelvis into the wall, but our low back will naturally be a little bit away from the wall. In between our shoulder blades, we want to feel that against the wall, and in a beautifully Pilates perfect spine, we would actually have the back of our head against the wall. Now mine isn't touching, and you don't want to push it back if that means that you're going to be sticking your chin up. So it's more helpful to think that a little screen had just kind of popped up, or somebody had just appeared in front of you and you were drawing your head back. And that will help you with your alignment much more than actually trying to force your head back. So our 3 points are pelvis on the wall, in between the shoulder blades on the wall, and head close-ish to the wall. Okay, so when we do our pelvic tilts, we're going to try and feel our low back into the wall. So we're going to take our nice breath in, and as we breathe out, we draw the tummy in, and I'm going to try and tuck the pelvis under so my low back is touching the wall, and then I'm going to release back to a neutral. So it's a little pelvic tilt to feel your low back in the wall, and then a release back to a neutral. Breathe out, tuck the pelvis under, release back to your neutral, and again. So you can do this in a chair. What we're doing from side on is tucking under and releasing back. Is tucking under and releasing back. We're going to do 2 more. We're going to tuck under and release back so your low back meets the wall, and then you release away. Okay, so that's the low bit of the spine. Now we're going to try and feel every vertebrae on the spine as we do a roll down. You can have your hands on your legs to give you a little bit of assistance, and you don't need to touch the floor. We just want to focus on our spine. So I'm going to stand nice and tall as I breathe in. As I breathe out, I'm going to nod my chin into the chest, and at this point I haven't felt much change in my back. This next section is where we'll feel it. So I'm going to almost try and push my spine into the wall as I come away and I hang forwards. The pelvis is always touching the wall, we're not hovering in space. We breathe in at the bottom, and then as we come back up, remember that pelvic tilt. Can you find your low back in the wall and roll your spine up? And then the low back will come against the wall as you finish up in your standing. So we breathe in. As we breathe out, we nod the chin to the chest. We roll our spine away from the wall, even though the pelvis stays in contact. Hang forward a little or a lot. Breathe in. And then let's come all the way back on up. Feel the low back into the wall before it comes away. And breathe in. As we breathe out, we're drawing our tummy in, we're curving our spine, we're rounding forwards and hanging our torso to the floor. Breathe in, and then we're coming all the way back up. Rolling our spine all the way up until we're nice and tall. Breathe in, and breathing out, chin to chest. Roll your upper body forwards. Feel the spine against the wall before it peels away. Breathe in, and then breathe out. We're going to roll that all the way back on up. Feel the low back into the wall until eventually the head is on, or maybe not. Breathe in. We've got 2 to go. Chin to chest. Roll through the spine until you finish off hanging forwards. Breathe in. Breathe out. Roll your torso back into the wall until you end up standing tall, and again breathe in, breathe out, nod the chin to the chest as you roll through the spine. And then we're hanging our body forwards, We breathe in here and then we're coming all the way back on and up. Shoulders come down, they come wide, and the head is up last. And it might be, but now that your head doesn't feel quite so far away because we've released through the spine a little bit more. Okay, just come away from the wall for a moment and give your legs a little bit of a shake. We're going to do a little bit of work through our arms and our shoulders now. So I'm going to get you to turn and face the wall. I'm coming side on so you can see me. My hands are coming out to shoulder height, and I'm trying to have my feet directly below my shoulders. So I'm not leaning into the wall, and I'm not kind of top heavy leaning away. If you can, spread your fingers nice and wide, and we're just going to start by peeling our hand away from the wall and then rolling it back in. Peeling it away and rolling it back in. Now, if you are tight through your wrists, it might be really tricky for you to get your hands flat on the wall. In which case, maybe take them up a little bit higher so it's not quite such an extreme angle through your wrists, or you can just do this off of a tabletop. So part of my reason for wanting to do this with you is that it's starting to build some of that bone density into the wrists, which is really important. We're going to do maybe 3 more. Peel a hand away, place it back on. Peel a hand away, place it back on. We'll do 2 more. And then we're going to do 1 more. Okay, if you need to drop your hands and give your wrists a bit of a shake, do. I'm going to carry on with my hands on, and I'm now focusing on my shoulders. These are called shoulder press-ups, because what we're doing is keeping our arms long and trying to push more away from the wall to open out through the back, and then I'm going to try and bring my chest forwards. So I'm pushing into my hands to open out my back, and then letting my upper body kind of come into the wall, pushing away and coming back in. Now, it's a really tricky movement if you're not used to doing it. You have to really try and think. I'm widening my shoulder blades. I'm trying to squeeze them together. And what we're doing is called protraction and retraction. Protraction, make space. Retraction, squeeze in. Protraction, make space. Retraction, squeeze the shoulder blades in. And ideally my spine is straight. I'm not rounding, I'm extending it. It's all about those shoulder blades. We're going to do 1 more. Out, and then in, and then again, just release your hands down and give them a little bit of a shake. Okay, so that was your shoulder presses. Now we're going to try and do a full press or a chest press. Again, you don't need to load this, so we're not stepping a long way away from the wall. We're just in, and the hands are going to go a little bit wider to shoulder height. If it's too much for you with your arms up here, you can just have them on a table and bend and press that way when you're seated. Otherwise, we are here, and I'm going to bend and push away. And I'm going to bend. So this is weight bearing through the wrists. We're building that bone density in the wrists as we bend. Now, I'm not trying to touch the wall with my nose. It's just a little bend and a press, a little bend and a press. And we're here for 2 more. Little bend and a press. Last time, little bend and a press. And then let's release those arms down and give them a little bit of a shake. Okay, we're using the wall for our next stretch, and we're going to go right down the body to a calf stretch now. Hands can be on the wall, or you can hold onto a chair if you prefer. 1 leg steps further forwards and the other leg steps back. And I'm going to bend my front knee, and my back leg is straight. So I'm looking for a stretch in the long calf, which is a calf muscle that attaches through the back of the knee, and it goes all the way down to the kind of heel, the connection into the heel. Breathe in and breathe out there. Just get your nice stretch. Of course, you can have your hands lower. Don't need to have your hands on at all if you've got your balance. Breathe in and breathe out. And let's go 1 more breath. In and out. And then we're going to do that same stretch on the other side. So step the other foot forwards, step the other leg back, bending into that front knee to get that lovely stretch down through the back of the other calf. Now, if you're in shoes, sometimes this is quite a hard stretch to feel, particularly if they're not completely flat. Lots of shoes have a little bit of a raise at the back of the foot, so it can be a little bit tricky to find a stretch. In which case, just pop yourself next time you're in your slippers or your bare feet, see if you can find this stretch. It's also a nice stretch to do off a step. That gives you lots of nice length through that calf as well. Good, stay here. One more, deep breath in, deep breath out. Good, and then let's step that foot all the way in. All right, now we're gonna come back to stretching out through our shoulders a little bit. I'm gonna get you to go back to that first position we had. So you're leaning yourself into the wall. Again, the head doesn't have to touch, but just work with that idea that something had popped up in front of you and you're just trying to draw your head back a little bit. Now this is called backstroke swimming. One arm will come over my head, the other hand will just touch down by my hip, and then I'm gonna swap. And then I'm gonna swap. And then I'm gonna swap. Now the hand doesn't have to touch the wall behind you. It's better that it doesn't touch rather than you're trying to flex back at your fingertips in order to touch the wall. Excellent. Let's just do 4 more like this. 3 more here. 2 more here. Last one here. Excellent. Just give your arms a little shake. Okay, now this time we're going to do a single arm. Our other hand is going to rest on our rib cage. And what we're going to try and avoid is bringing your arm up and sticking your ribs out. So this hand is to try and keep that rib down. All right, let's take the arm up and release it down. That means you can't go back as far. That is fine. All the way up, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. Let's do 2 more. Arm up and down. Last time, arm up and down. I'm going to swap. So the other hand's on the rib, and the other arm will come up and release down. It's going to come up, going to release down. And again, coming up, release down, trying to keep my ribs nice and quiet, up and release down. And we've got 1 to go. Up and release down. Okay, now the next bit is for our shoulders. Now we actually did this exercise with our hands on the wall. I'm going to get you to reach your arms out in front, fingertips in line with your shoulders. Without tipping your whole body away from the wall, can you try and peel your shoulder blades away from the wall and then draw them back to touch the wall? Can you peel them away from the wall and then draw them back? So it's our scapular press up, our shoulder press up, but the other way round. Different kind of feedback now. We don't have the feedback for the hands, we've got the feedback for the shoulders. So can you get a sense of your shoulder blades moving away before they draw back in? 1 more, move them away and let them draw back in and then release those arms down. Okay, so the last bit we're working on is rotation in the shoulders. This is an exercise called the lucky cat. In lots of Chinese restaurants and Asian restaurants around here, they have a little cat model that kind of waves like that. Or maybe it's a 2-hand wave. We're going to do our single arm waves because we want to keep an eye on our rib cage. So this time it's going to be a bent arm. Now, it doesn't matter if your arm touches the wall or it doesn't, but I want the elbow at shoulder height, and we're going to try and turn it in and turn it out. Turn it in and turn it out. And if your shoulder is coming away from the wall, just notice that for yourself. And then you'll compare it to the other side. It's not always about fixing things. Sometimes it's just about noticing what's happening with your body. We're going to do 2 more. And we're going to do 1 more. And then we're going to release that. And we'll do the other side. Other hand on the rib. And here we go. Dropping down and coming up. If it's too much to turn your arm in or turn it out, you can have a much smaller range. Remembering it's not about taking your fingertips back and flexing your wrist. It's trying to think of the whole arm moving. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Turn it down. Turn it up and then release it down. Give it a little wiggle. Okay, here's the brain bit. We're going to try and put it all together, which means we're going to do some backstroke swimming with both arms. Then take our arms out in front, pull away and press back into the wall. Then we'll do a single arm lucky cat 4 times on one arm, a single 4 times on the other. So it's all going to be 4s. 4 backstroke swimming, which is 8 single. 4 out and in with those shoulders, 4 and 4. Oh, here we go. Tummy strong, when I'm up, when I'm down. So I'm counting for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, Reach your arms out in front of you. Reach away from the wall, pull back into the wall. Reach away from the wall, pull back into the wall. We've got 2 to go and 1 to go. Lucky cat with your left arm, right hand on your rib cage. Up and down for 4. Up and down for 3. Up and down for 2. Up and down for 1. Let's do the other side. Up and down for 4. Up and down for 3. Up and down for 2. Up and down for 1. And then we're going to release that down. Good. Come away from the wall and give everything a little bit of a wiggly wiggle. Okay, last little bit. We've got some balance work coming up. So I'm going to go side on to the wall. If you would rather have hands facing the wall, or of course you can hold on to a chair. What's nice about using the wall is that you can't grip it. So it is going to challenge your balance that little bit more. First of all, we're just going to rise and lower. 1 hand on the hip, 1 hand on the wall. So let's come up and down for 4, and for 3, and for 2. Then we're going to do what are called pony trots. So we're going to have 1 heel up and the other foot's flat. And we're going to swap for 8, swap 7, swap 6, swap 5, swap 4, swap 3, swap 2, swap 1, and both feet flat. Nice, let's turn around and face the other way. I'm going to stay facing the camera with my invisible wall here. Other hand is on your hip. So we're going to come up and down for 4, up and down for 3, up and down for 2, up and down for 1. Pony trots. 1 heel up, the other heel up. 1 heel up, the other heel up. Let's do 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, 1 more, and then release that down and give everything a bit of a wiggle. Cool. So lots of work through the legs at the end, lots of work through those shoulders. So let's finish by giving them a nice big shoulder circle round. Shoulder circle round. We'll do that a couple more times, taking them back. And then let's go the other way. Back and up and over and round. Back and up and over and round. Back, up and over and round, and again. And then we're just doing a shoulder shrug. Up, let them drop down. 4. Up, let them drop down. 3. Up, let them drop down. 2. Drop them down. 1. And you're done. Nice work. So nice little things to work on that wrist stability, little bit of balance, and lots of nice shoulder opening as well. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.